Welcome to Retiring Well, where it's our job to help you enjoy financial security in any economy. Well, we have a terrific show lined up for you this week because we are pulling back the curtain and revealing the truth about annuities. Annuities are really hot right now. We're going to talk about why that is and what you have to watch out for. Now, before we do that, it's time to meet the star of the show and your retirement planning specialist.
Hi, I'm Rob Russell.
And I'm Curve Miller.
And we're from Russell & Company,
Southwest Ohio's total wealth management firm,
helping you rescue your retirement from bad advice.
Retiring well, providing financial security in any economy. Today is the day you can take control of your financial future and eliminate worry about your money forever. Retiring well, featuring retirement planning specialists Robert Russell and Curvin Miller of Russell & Company in Dayton, Ohio.
This week's topic, unveiling the truth behind annuities. As I said earlier, annuities are just screaming red hot right now. People are putting their money in annuities left and right. They are extremely popular right now when it comes to retirement planning. Why is it? Are annuities a good idea, or are there some hidden pitfalls? Well, we want to help you understand each. I have a saying that, if you give good information to good people, they can make good decisions. Well, it starts out with good information, and when it comes to annuities, there's a lot of financial advisors out there, and they're giving you all the good news about annuities, but they tend to take the bad news and sweep it under the rug a little bit. Well, you're smarter than that. You're not going to fall for that. You know that anytime there's good news, there's bad news. To make good decisions, you need both. So why don't we start off with the good news about annuities? Why are annuities so hot right now, especially when it comes to retirement planning? Well, there's really three reasons that support the fact that annuities are hot. There's three reasons that people are buying these things. Number one, it is the only place you can go to guarantee a lifetime stream of income. In other words, if you want to make sure your money lasts as long as you do, annuities are it. They're the only game in town. And we all know that the fear of running out of money is one of the top fears out there. So it's no wonder why people are taking action, especially, the market's volatile, interest rates are low. No surprise that people are putting their money in places where they can guarantee a lifetime stream of income for both you and your spouse if you're married. Annuities are the only game in town that'll do that. Number two, the right annuities, not all annuities, the right annuities can also protect your principal, at least subject to the claims paying abilities of the insurance company. Well, think about it. Where else can you put your money and protect your principal these days? The options are not many. The right annuities allow for that. And then reason number three, while you're protecting principal, again with the right annuities, you can also get a decent return. I mean, heck, you can throw your money in the bank and protect your principal, but do you get a decent return? Not so much. But with the right annuities, you can put your money there, get lifetime income, protect your principal, and get a decent return all in the same place. Well, with those kinds of benefits, it's no surprise people are pouring money into these things left and right. But what are the disadvantages? You need to know those. Again, we had three benefits. I'm going to give you three disadvantages, three things you got to watch out for. Number one, surrender periods. Annuities have surrender periods, and that means that during a period of time, normally 7 to 12 years, so a pretty long period of time, you are limited as to how much money you can pull out of that account without a penalty. 10% is a pretty typical number. What that means is if you pull more than 10% a year, you can pay some pretty hefty penalties. So you got to watch out for that. Number two, fees. Variable annuities particularly have really high fees, 3 to 4% a year. That can really eat into your returns. Fixed annuities, fees are pretty low, but variable annuities, it can be very high. And then number three, riders. A lot of these riders are pretty complex. They're pretty complicated. And it's sometimes pretty difficult to figure out what exactly you've got. So the disadvantages, surrender periods, fees, complicated riders, you need to know about these things before you put your money there. All right, that's what I see nationally. Now what I want to do is I want to turn the show over to the real stars, the local retirement planning specialist, someone who talks to people just like you every day, to share how they use annuities with folks just like you.
And now, featuring Southwest Ohio's retirement planning specialists, Rob Russell and Kervin Miller.
All right, Mike, that was an excellent topic, annuities, and really the confusion around annuities. And like all types of investments or savings vehicles, there's always a pro, a con, and a string attached. Now, the way we've used annuities for certain clients is we use it in their plan to create income and protect their principal, which you mentioned. Now, if you think about building a portfolio like a house, now the most important part of home construction isn't the roof or maybe not even the walls, it's the foundation. And that's where the annuities come in to your retirement plan, is building that solid foundation of money you can't lose due to the perfect market storm, and also money that you want to make sure you can take guaranteed income, like Mike mentioned, in the future.
Yeah, one of the biggest concerns people come to us with is, do I have enough money to live? Am I going to have enough to get and do the things I wanted to do in retirement? Can I take that trip with the grandkids? Can I do the things that, you sacrificed your whole life to get to this point? Is it enough, and do you have a plan to take it out? So that is one of the biggest pros of an annuity, is the fact that an insurer, you have to look at, with the rating of the company is very important, but ultimately having some kind of a guaranteed income stream can allow you to earmark some assets to make sure that you do not run out of money on that piece.
Well, like Mike mentioned, is the lack of liquidity. These are not short-term savings accounts by any stretch of the imagination. This is money that you want to park for future use. And so you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You don't put all your money into annuities. But the portion that you want to make sure you don't lose, and the portion that you want to create income from, that's where an annuity can play an important part. Now, Mike touched upon variable annuities. Now, let's kind of clear that up a little bit too. Sure. Is the difference between variables and fixed or fixed index annuities, because they're very, very different from each other.
Yeah, when we've utilized annuities for people in retirement, we tend to look at the ones that are fixed in nature. We want the ones that are going to protect your money. We don't want to do it by buying a bunch of insurance, and that's what a variable annuity does. It's basically like a mutual fund with a life insurance wrapper. They say, look, we're going to gamble the money. If it goes up, great. If it loses and whatever, and you die, we'll give your money back to you or somebody. But you're dead. It does no good when you actually need it. And so we look at making sure that if you can protect the principal with a fixed annuity or even a fixed index or hybrid annuity, that tends to be the best thing. Variable annuities, the fees are very high, anywhere from 3 to 5% we've seen. And, really that is, you're paying for an insurance to protect that money.
Oh, we talk about your foundation. This is supposed to be your protected money or your safe money. And you can tell the difference between variable annuities and fixed or fixed indexed and the way they're named. Variable means it can go down. It can also go up. But more importantly, it can go down. And fixed, it can either stay the same or go up. And that's the key when we're talking about protecting a portion of your life savings. Furthermore, a lot of people have pensions, Curve, and they have like a pension from the government or from the state. Maybe they're a retired teacher. An annuity can play an important part as a backup pension.
Right.
And I always look at it like jumping out of an airplane. Always pack 2 parachutes.
Right.
Even though you have a good parachute, always have an extra one just in case. And so sometimes it makes sense to build your own personal pension as a backup to your private or public pension.
And we see that that's the trend, is that companies aren't funding their pensions. It's harder and harder. Companies broke, the government's broke. This is a chance to take control, make sure that you take control of your future, have an income stream. So if that's a concern of you, give the number on the bottom of the screen a call. We'd be happy to talk to you if you have questions or misinformation about annuities.
You just heard some terrific information about how to use annuities in circumstances probably a lot like yours. And remember, if you want to talk to your retirement planning specialist, you can pick up the phone, call the number on the screen. They'll talk to you on the phone. If you want, you can go in and visit with them in person. No cost, no obligation. if you have questions, get them answered. No reason not to. All right, don't go away. We're going to have our question of the week.
You're on the back nine heading for the clubhouse. Your dreams of spending time with family and enjoying retirement are just within reach. What happens if you end up in the rough? In these uncertain times, it's crucial to be prepared with sound advice. Russell & Company is one of the area's premier retirement planning specialists. For a complimentary consultation, call 1-800-392-4378. Russell & Company, helping you create a winning strategy.
Hi, Michael Reese here, and you know what I found is in that critical period, the 5 years before retirement, all the way to the 5 years after retirement, in that 10-year period, I find that over and over again, Americans are making mistakes with their financial planning that, quite frankly, are easily avoided. And it really almost breaks my heart, because if you make little mistakes in this period of time, you can have huge consequences. So in order to help you not make those mistakes, I've put together a simple website with some free videos from me to you to help you be smart about your planning. The website is called 3mistakes.com. It's the number 3 spelled out, THREE, 3mistakes.com. Why don't you go there today? Welcome back. It's time for our question of the week.
This week's question comes from Rebecca from Dayton, Ohio. She asks, I'm still working and have most of my retirement funds in my 401k. I'm not super excited about my options inside my 401k and would like to move a chunk to my own IRA. But a coworker told me I couldn't do that as long as I was working. Can I move a portion of my 401k to my own IRA or not?
Great question, Rebecca, and it's one that we hear often here at Russell & Company, because a lot of people that contribute to their 401k, they feel handcuffed by the limited options available to them. The good news is there's a couple things you can actually do about it to take control of your retirement savings. One of them is called an in-service rollover, What it does is it allows you to take the majority of your 401k while you're employed and while you contribute to your 401k without penalty or taxes. Take the majority of your 401k and roll it over into your IRA, which is what you want to do to get you all those available options in your IRA, far more than it's available in your 401k. Now, it's based on your age and what your plan allows. Many times the trigger ages are age 59 and a half or age 65. But again, it depends on what your plan that your employer allows.
Yeah, and just as an in-service rollover allows for more options, there's also an option called a brokerage window. Imagine opening up a window to a world outside of your plan. Some plans, if it allows, will allow this brokerage window to be added, and you can actually make sure that you have an access to investments that are not currently allowed in your current plan.
And that's a great point. Now, the only way to tell if your plan allows an in-service rollover, or like Curve said, the brokerage window, is to contact your HR department and ask for a copy of your summary plan description, or SPD for short. And in that guide, it'll tell you, can you do the in-service rollover? At what age? And is the brokerage window available? Is it available to you? And if that doesn't happen, the last thing you can do, of course, is go to your employer and express your frustration with the limited options in your 401k. And they may open or add a couple of different investment options to your plan and get you where you need to go.
Right. And one key point here too is if you are not currently working and you have an old plan, we work with people all the time, contractors for the base they work for 2 or 3 different contractors. And we find that these 401k plans are getting left behind. They're orphaned and they have limited options. There's nobody watching them. So make sure that if you're not with a current employer and you have an old 401k, make sure that you get that rolled over to an IRA so you can start exploring these thousands of options that are available outside of that plan. So, Rebecca, that was a great question, a very, very good topic today, and appreciate it.
Now, if you want your question answered on a future episode of Retiring Well, just email us here at the bottom of the screen.
Do you want your question answered on Retiring Well? Send us an email to question@retiringwell.tv.
All right, this week in Chalk Talk, I want to introduce you to a brand new set of videos that we've created for you, absolutely free of charge, online, and you can find them right here at this website, www.makingannuitiessimple.com. Now, you got to make sure you spell it all right when you type it in, of course. Now, what I've done is I have kind of drawn here. You see, you all know my artistic capabilities are limited, so these are TVs. So the idea is to show you that there are 3 videos, and somehow my TVs got progressively bigger, but it's as good as I can do. Anyway, so we have these 3 videos that we've put up on that website for you. Again, they're free of charge, simply informational. The first one, it talks about what is an annuity. So really, it goes to the very basics. You know, if you're thinking about investing in annuities, if you own annuities, I mean, you got to check these videos out. You know our motto, good information, or when you give good information to good people, then they can make good decisions. Again, we're all about the good information here. So on this website, the first video just talks about what is an annuity. It talks about the basics. And it really helps you in English, not financial jargon, just better understand what the heck you're looking at there. You know, what are these things called annuities and what do they do? Where do they fit? The second video is all about these things called income riders. Now, here's what you need to understand. Income riders represent an absolute game changer in the retirement planning community. These guys right here, these income riders, they have absolutely changed the landscape. And you need to understand how they work and what their benefits are and what their disadvantages are. Right there in video number 2, we talk about that. And then the third video, what we're doing is we're taking this information and I share with you how to build a retirement income plan. You know, generally speaking, statistics are telling us, Morningstar, in fact, just recently had a study where they said if you set up your retirement income the way that people did it in the past, you know, balanced portfolio, take 4% income, you know, you're only going to have about a 50-50 shot of, you know, making your money last as long as you do. What this does in this video, we show you a 98% solution, a solution that works 98% of the time. So make sure you check out the website, makingannuitiessimple.com.
You've worked your entire life to become financially secure so you can enjoy a comfortable retirement. But when you get there, what's next? Wall Street and the financial media flood the airwaves with information about what you should and shouldn't do. But who are they working for? Who can you trust?
For the past 17 years, I've focused on helping people just like you protect and preserve their retirement security. And during that time, I've identified 7 different lies, each with the potential to destroy the security that you've worked so hard to build. I believe that you deserve to know the truth. And so I've built a website that hosts a series of videos that's free of charge that you can watch in the comfort and safety of your own home.
You don't want to miss out on these powerful videos that shine the light of truth on what can be a confusing topic. Why don't you go there now? It's absolutely free, and you'll be glad you did. www.retirementincomelines.com. You deserve to know the truth.
All right, welcome back to the show. It's time for our story of the week. And Rob, you were telling me a story about a couple that you had met this last week. I thought it'd be great for this segment. Why don't you share with our viewers what you were telling me?
Sure, sure. So last week I met with this couple, fantastic people, Sherry and David. They came to see me at a live event that I gave down in Cincinnati. And so they took me up on the offer to sit down and kind of review and stress test their portfolio and their tax strategy. And what we found out by the end of the very first visit, after looking through everything and taking inventory of everything they've saved and built over all these decades of hard work, was that they had an extraordinarily high amount of their money at risk to the markets.
Okay, so it's actually all that money was invested in the stock market, is that right? Well, we look at that. We follow what's called the prudent investor rule. And a lot of times, people have way too much risk. And so one of the easiest ways to determine how much you should have at risk is to take the number 100 and subtract your age. So let's say you're 60 years old. The maximum you would have at risk, and from what I understand, these stock market risk investments would be 40%. 100 minus 60 is 40. 40% of your investable assets would be the most you should have in those types of assets.
Well, the problem is the confusion out there. I mean, their advisor, whom they've been with for a very, very long time, told them they didn't have that much at risk. But upon review and stress testing their portfolio, we were able to show them that they had near 100% of what they had saved at risk in the markets. And here's the difference between how a Wall Street advisor thinks and a real advisor. A Wall Street advisor will tell you, you've got stock funds and you have bond funds. See, you don't have all your money at risk. The problem is, and that was the case with Sherry and David, was their bond funds, which they had, are traded on the stock market. So they become linked or correlated to what goes on in the markets. And when you look at their portfolio with that lens, you realize that everything's at risk. And they worked way too hard. So what they want to do is build a plan to preserve some of their money. It's okay to risk some, right? Like the prudent investor rule.
Absolutely.
But protect the rest of it and also create an income plan. And that's what we're working on right now for Sherry and David.
Well, that's great. And that's the biggest misconception, I think, Rob, is the fact that people truly feel like they're diversified. And really, it's what I refer to as the wrong kind of diversification. You could be diversified across small cap, mid cap, large cap, all this stuff. You could have real estate funds. You could have international and bond funds and stock funds. And it appears that you're diversified. But Rob, you made a very, very good point in the fact that it's all correlated. So things that have nothing to do with the financial markets. It could be a terrorist attack. It could be Hurricane Katrina. It could be tornadoes. It could be anything can affect the stock market based on things that are totally outside of your control. That's what that correlation means. So when you have people, say there's 76 million baby boomers, that's what I hear. If they're all nearing retirement and they're worried about losing money inside of their own plans, aren't there 76 million other people thinking possibly on the defensive side saying, look, if it's time to go, we're going to sell? And then what happens is that all that correlation can potentially lower the value of your investments.
Well, I think a lot of Americans just want to protect what they saved. They work too hard for it. And they're distrustful of the stock market system. And look, it's not the market that you saw during your father's or even grandfather's years. Totally, totally different market. Now listen, if you're not sure about your level of risk, the best thing you can do is give us a call at Russell & Company. The number's on your screen. And ask to sit down with the wealth advisor and get your portfolio, your strategy stress tested so you have clarity on exactly how much risk you're taking.
There you have it, folks. Yet another wonderful story of the week. Every week I love to hear these stories. It's always a good reminder to me anyway as to why it's so important that you sit down with a retirement planning specialist. And in case you don't know it, you can call your retirement planning specialist. You can simply call these guys. You can talk to them on the phone. If you want, you can go in and visit with them free of charge, no obligation. Just call the number on the screen and let them know that you want to talk. I recommend you do that. Okay, now it's time to turn our attention to another treat from my dog, Charlie. All right, this week my dog Charlie has found, let's call it some interesting video from the internet about how some children out there view retirement and what you really need to do to prepare yourself for retirement. So this little video, this little clip's about 1.5 minutes. Guys, why don't you go ahead and roll it?
Hi, I'm Bonnie from Vanguard, and we found this great video that Vanguard shot back in the 90s where kids talk about saving and retirement. Now, some of their comments are pretty hilarious, but the tips that they share about saving are just as relevant today as they were back 12 years ago. So hope you enjoy.
What does retirement mean?
When you retire, you go into your store that you used to work in or a restaurant, and you tell a manager, somebody that you know, that you're going to retire.
You could just say, boss, I'm getting old. Can I please go home now? I'll forget about the money, forget about working, forget about everything else. I'm going home and rest. And that's all.
Ah, retirement. It's a great time to take it easy. What will you do in retirement?
When I retire, I want to go on a vacation to Florida. I'll just probably relax and watch TV. Might go skydiving. I wanted to be 64 because I want to retire so I don't have to go to school anymore.
Hey, we all want to retire. The question is, can we afford to? What is a 401k?
401k. It's a news station that they talk and sing a lot. Crunchy cereal. A Barbie. Ravioli.
Not really, but close. Any advice?
You should start probably now today. Saving your money so you can get things and buy things. You have to save early. You have to go get some money early. You should save, save, save.
And you can.
It's never too early to start saving for your future.
Boy, out of the mouths of babes, right? I love the one kid, save, save, save. These kids are brilliant. Anyway, like them, I think I want to retire to Florida and at least go visit Florida. There you have it. Big dreams from little kids, and they're teaching you what to do about your retirement. Folks, that was terrific, and that was a treat from my dog, Charlie. Well, that's our show for the week, folks. Remember, if you have questions about annuities, you can always check out that brand new free website we set up for you, makingannuitiessimple.com. Certainly recommend you go there. You can learn all about them, free of charge, nothing absolutely but information there for you. And again, if you have questions for your retirement planning specialist, just call the number on the screen. With that, hope you have a great week.